Bruce,
I'm here.
hi. Is your camera on?
If I gotta hit something
Yeah,
uh,
see what's going on with this camera. Hang on a second.
take your time. Oh,
There.
I see
Oh.
somebody.
It's Amina. How are you?
Hold on 1 second. Let me get rid of this box here. Uh, if you see me close, it's because I'm blind. Permission
Oh,
needed from meeting host.
what does it say? Wait, hang
It's
on.
permission from you.
Got it.
See you. Nice to meet you. See you face to face.
Hey, nice to meet you too. Were you able to take the were you able to turn on the camera?
I don't have my camera on. Hold on. Let me see here.
So if you hover with the little arrow,
Yeah.
um to the left, on the bottom left corner, there is a little picture of a microphone, and
Oh
there's
yeah. I got it. I got it. There we go. You see me now?
I don't. There you are. Wait,
Yeah.
get back into
You
frame.
didn't know I was this handsome, did you? Yeah, you did. You've seen pictures.
All
How
right.
are you this morning?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Uh, molto bene.
Oh,
Good.
good, good. Okay, well, I won't take up too much of your time. I just wanted to say hello and just let you know. So if at any time Sammy, if you ask a question and Sammy is not going to answer it, he'll just tell you he's not going to answer it. Okay.
Yeah, I hope I don't ask any questions like that.
I don't think you will, but
I know better on most of them, but
good. All right. Okay. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Sammy. All right.
yes,
Give me one moment.
there he is, the man, the legend.
How you doing, pal?
I'm doing fine, man. Molto bene.
Thank you. Same to you, bro.
How are you this morning? You okay?
So far, so good. I'm
Yeah.
on Medicare and I have Aetna as a insurance company, and they just send a doctor down. They check you out. I don't know why, but I guess before they keep giving you insurance, they want to make sure that you're healthy. That you don't.
Yeah.
So I
We
just
had Aetna for 27 years. And I can't complain. They treated me great, especially when I had a pulmonary embolism in China and getting me out of China. And uh, anyway, yeah, they 27 years that they were a good company to me anyway.
Yeah, I have had them for a couple of years, but now they send down as you get older. They send the doctor down every before they redo it. And
Yeah,
they check you out, blood
I
pressure,
know.
it's crap. But he says I'm healthy as a horse.
I lied on my weight, when I put on the application, I gave myself a little benefit on the pounds. When they came to my house to check me out
Yeah,
and
that's
got,
what they just walked out of my office.
yeah, they brought a scale.
Oh no, he didn't have a scale. He took my word. I told him I'm 150 pounds. I think I'm
Yeah,
152.
well, you are. You are. I'll give you a little short, quick bio of me so you have an understanding who you're talking to. Uh, I'm Bruce Azzariti. My friends call me Captain because I am a captain. Ocean, not street. And I started out in Boston till I was 5 years old. We lived in Bromley Heath Housing Project till we were 5 years old. And then the neighborhood really started going downhill. My dad moved us about 20 miles outside the city to a little town called Randolph. Uh, I started my crime career when I was 5 years old. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And rode outlaw motorcycles, club. I was always into something on the periphery. And I wasn't really doing anything big until I got 17, 18. 17, I got into the pipe fitters local 537 in Boston.
Right,
Later on, I also became an operating engineer in the Marine Division because I was running tugboats and stuff.
right,
I was small, man. I was doing like a pound a pot. I'm on a job site. You know how many guys were on the job site? I'd go through a pound of pot in a couple of days. I got a couple ounces for free for me. Then it was 2, then it was 5. Then another guy came one night and he gave me an ounce of Coke. I'd never seen it. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to sell it. I don't know nothing. And that 1 ounce led to kilos and me doing, I was doing this thing, recompressing. They'd bring me the stuff. They tell me what they want on it, cut it to this. I'd powder it, put the inositol, mannitol in there, and then I would recompress it into rocks, dress it up. So when you looked in the bag, it looked like a bag of diamonds. If we get time, we'll talk about that. And the only reason that I don't have a 20 to life or 40 or whatever bid story to tell you is planning, luck, and skill. And we're going to talk about that. I was around the edge of the mob in Boston. And I
right,
was collecting money with a guy named Russ. And I was getting a little, just like you did. You were doing things, and then Shorty said, I better grab this guy, and off you went. And I was getting real close to that. But I was seeing what was going on, and I didn't like it. There was no honor. There was no respect. There was no omanta. These were like high school girls talking shit, gossiping. All this. I said, what is this? Now I'm in the pipe fitters. I'm more and more. I'm making good money. I'm not worried about somebody shooting me. I'm not worried about the cops kicking the door in, DEA, which they eventually did.
right.
But all of those things. So really, I was only around the periphery of that for like 2 years. And I could have went this way or I could have went this way. And I went the other street. I don't think I've even had a parking ticket in 50 years. But it's not because I wasn't still doing stuff. I almost put my neighbor in the piggery about 3 years ago because he tried to fuck me for $5,000. We have time, we'll get to that one. 2 things I'd like to talk with you about, and I have a couple of questions here too for you. 2 things I'd like to talk about before we run out of time is the thing we talk about, ratting, confidential informant, that stuff. I 100% agree with your point. I was about to do the same thing. Been to the grand jury a few times. This was on a big construction case. We built a tunnel under Boston. They had an ugly 2-level highway going through the middle of the city. It's called the Green Monster. And it was ready to fall down. It was rotting from all the salt in the wintertime, getting in all the joints. Some of the buildings were only 3 feet away from the edge of the highway. So there was no way to go east and west. We had to go right under it. We built a tunnel under a 6-lane highway without ever shutting it down. It was like doing open heart surgery on a guy playing tennis.
Yeah, I recall that.
Yeah, the Big Dig. Yeah, it was the largest public works project in the history of the United States.
It was
It
phenomenal.
ended up being 15.4 billion in the end.
Yeah,
And way overdue. But there was so much fraud and bullshit going on in there. And I was a lead engineer, and I was trying to make them at least do it. Give me something. You know, the contractor wants to be down here. I want them up here, and we're lucky if we get them in the middle. So
yeah, negotiations. It happens with everything. Yeah.
yes, I know you know that well. So let's start about the rat deal.
Go ahead.
Anybody that calls you a rat has no idea the definition. You're not a rat. You did what you did because of what John did to you.
Without a doubt.
You would have went down with the ship. You never would have said a word. I know that. I'm a captain. I go down with the ship. I was very quiet. There's going to be some of my friends going to see this. I might even lose a few. They don't know anything about this. I never talked about it. I never told people, hey, you know what I did? When I went with Russ and we collected some money, and I never would say, hey, you know what I did last night? No, I never did that.
Right, right.
But on the tunnel project, I was high visibility. Everybody knew me from one end to the other, 7 mile long. Everybody knew me, high visibility. Long story short, this Modern Continental company had like 2/3 of the contracts on the tunnel, and they were total dog shit. So I'm holding their feet to the fire. Well, it was an incestuous relationship between Modern Continental, Mass Highway, and the Turnpike Authority. So they got together and they got me removed from this contract and put in another contract up there. To me, it was a slap in the face. They fucking humiliated me. And I was pissed right off about that. Now, later on, 3 or 4 years later, the shit starts hitting the fan. Well, actually, it was 2008 was the first time they brought me back to the grand jury. My last 12 years were all in Australia, Africa, and China, in LNG mostly. So they bring me back from Egypt, they bring me back from China, they bring me from Sydney, Australia. They thought I was going to clash with the U.S. attorney. His name was Fred Wyshak. Fred Wyshak's the one that put all the mob in jail up here. And they thought I was going to clash with this guy. Actually, we became very good friends. You know, I never had a problem with Fred Wyshak. So, like the third time I come in, he said, Bruce, where'd they bring you back from this time? Came from Cairo. Man, he said, Bechtel has a better witness protection program than I have. And I said, yeah, well, you know, they keep me out of the country. I'm not supposed to talk to you. He's joking. And then there was this little nerdy fuck. His name was Jeff Cohen. And he was really pushing me to give up my cousin. And it was such a small thing that he was trying to push to get that piece of evidence, which was nothing. Plus, no matter what it was, I never would have given up my cousin, never. So it got heated. And I told Wyshak, I'll tell you right, I'd already been to the grand jury once. And I said, if you don't get him to fuck off, then I'm going to recant everything I told you, and you can go fuck yourself. I'm the guy who's going to make their case because I'm pissed off what they did to me. I got all the records in my head, plus they got them in the computer. This is 2008. He says, do you remember the concrete placement on July 2nd, 1996? We placed 300 to 3,000 yards almost every day. Do I remember that placement? Hell no. I don't know. He put the concrete placement card up on the overhead projector. And I made a note on the bottom. Slurry's not in spec. We refuse to sign for the concrete. We didn't have a Teamster at the gate. I had to have a Boston cop. We can't work in the street without a Boston cop for detail. I go over and tell the cop, don't let any cement trucks in here. I got cement trucks lined up down Atlantic Ave. And if that concrete don't come out of that truck in 90 minutes, it's no good.
Right, right.
Phone calls to the highway department, Turnpike, my boss. Next time I get a phone call, what the fuck are you doing? Let the trucks in. They said if the wall's fucked up and it leaks, they're going to pressure grout the wall. They're never going to do that. But I can only push so far. I get overruled. Fuck it, let the trucks in. And the tunnel was designed for 300,000 gallons of water a year. What rolls in the portal, the truck goes down, it washes the tile. before we put the first car in there, the tunnel was doing 2 million gallons a year. And we're overloaded in the sewer treatment plant. It's a total fucking disaster. Well, when I go in the grand jury, I'm telling it the way it is. And I'm gonna put every one of them fuckers in jail if I can. This is federal fraud, big money. And then one day I'm at the grand jury. I got to piss so bad, I'm dying, but I don't want to take a break. Fred Wyshak finishes, we're done for the day. I go to the men's room, another guy comes in, he says, let me tell you something. There's been about 25 people here before you, and you're the only one that told the truth. Yeah, well, thank you, that's good. And then the last time they brought me back, I'm sitting in a beautiful 5-star hotel, Seaport, a beautiful place. So I'm close to the federal courthouse. I sat there for 17 days, and then they settled out of court for $400 million.
Wow.
I would have liked to go in there and get my retribution, vindicate my name, and slam them bastards as best I could. My point there is, you did what you did, and I'm fully agree, 100%. And in my case, I'm going to grand jury, but I'm not a rat. You fucked me, and I'm going to fuck you back. That's the way it is.
Absolutely.
Ever since I was a kid, I'm the most vindictive bastard you ever want to meet. If you fuck with me, I am going to get you. It's always been that way. And if I get to tell some of these stories, you'll see. So we did rats. Planning. That's why I don't have a big prison bid. Blizzard of 78. I get trapped in a brand new high school for 9 days. We built the school. We turned it over in September 77, the blizzard of 78. We get trapped in the school. And by then, I-93, the cars were all stopped and the snow was up to the roof. So we ain't going anywhere. We were lucky. Some people ended up trapped in a police station with nothing. We're in a brand new school. We go cut the locks off the walk-in, the freezer. We got plenty of food. We got an emergency generator, swimming pool. We can go down the locker room and take a shower. But the coils kept freezing up. So I got to drain the building, silver solder the return bin, and get the building back up and running before the rest of the building freezes.
Right.
So it wasn't like we were sitting there jacking off for 9 days. I'm working. I'm keeping the building from getting totally destroyed. We get done, I turn in a timesheet for $700. I really think they should have $2,000. I put in for $700. The boss said, "You think I'm paying this?" Well, yeah. For you to sit there and play for a week, I will take you to the school if that's what we need to do. These were big coils, like 10 feet by 10 feet. You got a big end cap on it. A lot of screws just to get the end cap off to get to where it froze and broke. Do we need to do that stupid shit? You owe me $700. This guy's trying to jerk me off, the owner of the company. About the last couple of days, one of the other guys with me, he walks out to a bar. He brings a girl back with him. Takes her down the gym, and whatever happened on the mats down there, and I don't know. But somehow this story gets back to the Union Hall. So the Union Hall don't want to jump in and back it up because they don't want Charlie's old lady to find out he had a girlfriend. I said, oh, Jesus, what a fucking mess. All right, I'll handle it. So I call this guy up and I said, look, you owe me the money. Don't fuck around. Tell me like you're not going to pay me. Do you really want to do this for $700? So I fucked with them for a little while. Back in those days, if you called somebody and you didn't hang the phone up, they can't hang their phone up. They can't use their phone if you leave the phone hanging. So I'd stop at different payphones on my way into work and I'd call his house and I'd say, "Are you awake, you cocksucker?" And I'd just leave the phone hang. And I said, "I'm gonna torture you until you fucking pay me." So one day, the truck driver from the shop comes and he's delivering some material to us. Somehow we ended up talking about that. And I said, "I'd like to blow that motherfucker up." Dougie, the truck driver, said, "I'll do it." "Really? Come over here, we gotta talk." So this is gonna happen. And maybe I'm not usually this smart, but I know this is gonna happen. Thursday night around midnight. So Thursday night, I take my truck to my cousin's gas station. Cousin David, he's gonna come into a couple of stores. David's straight as they are. I take my truck to David's gas station and I said, "Put this truck on the lift, take it apart, take the brakes apart, do something, but put this truck on the lift and just leave it there till I tell you." So 1 o'clock Friday morning, I'm in bed, me and my wife sound asleep, the phone's ringing. I pick up the phone. "Boo, Boo, is that you? You motherfucker, is that you?" I said, "Yeah, it's me. Who the fuck is this? You woke me up, I'm fucking sleeping." And it was his wife fucking screaming. His wife was screaming because there's a little strip mall down here and there's a church at the other end of the street. Sometimes the cops sit there at night, just sit there. So I said, "You check this in, you check that in, everything's okay, do whatever you're gonna do. I don't know what you're gonna do, but do whatever you're gonna do." So somebody went by the house at like 1 o'clock in the morning and stopped, and his old lady must have been up. She opens up the door and this kid's out in the grass. He's got 2-quart bottles and he's trying to light them. The lighter won't light. He lights one at the front steps right where she is. The other one, he got the cars in the driveway. I go by there the next day on my way to work. It just burned the shingles off the front of the house and it fucked the cars up really good. He had an AMC Pacer. The windows just kind of come out and melted to the fenders. I don't think anything about it. But the next day, Dougie doesn't come to work in the morning. So I'm shitting. Did this guy get caught? Then he come in about 12 o'clock. He said, "We were so fucking drunk last night, I couldn't get up this morning." So that was Thursday, Friday. We went to a wedding Friday night, got home late Saturday morning. Whatever time it was, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, someone, ding, 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 they're leaning on my doorbell. And there's a concrete overhang at the doorway where the bells are. I said, "Who the fuck is down there?" 3 guys stepped back. The Braintree Police, State Police, and Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Those are the guys that come for incendiary devices. "We need to talk to you. Can we talk to you?" Okay. They come up. I've only got a pair of shorts on. We're sitting at the kitchen table. And they're asking me all kinds of questions. "You know Bernie Bradley? You ever worked for Bernie Bradley? Do you think he owes you money?" Bada, bada, bing. They're asking me all these questions. I said, "Well, what is this about?" They don't answer. Keep asking questions. Well, I'm trying to be a hard ass on the outside, but I'm kind of shitting on the inside. And finally, whatever it was, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I said, "Look, I answered all your questions. You either tell me what's going on, or fuck off. Am I under arrest? Am I being detained? Out." They said, "Well, your truck was at a firebomb at 12:45 Friday morning, and his wife saw you. She saw your truck. She got your license plate." "Really?" And he said, "We'd like you to come with us and take a lie detector at State Police Barracks at Foxborough." "Sure." "You'll go with us now?" "Absolutely." But I tell you what, you're going to get Bernie Bradley and his old lady, and they're coming with us. And they're going to take a lie detector first. and tell you, did they really see me? Did they really see my truck? They had my license plate because they paid me for my truck every week and paid for my gas and shit, so they got my license. And they said, well, what's up? Why? And I said, let me tell you something. You said it happened at 12:45. My truck's been in the gas station since 4:30. It broke down on the way home. It's still there. This is Saturday afternoon. It's still there because they can't get the part. Well, that took the wind right out of their sails. They walked out of my house, never saw them again, never heard another word. Had I not done those couple of things, I'd have had probably 40. In Massachusetts, you get 20 for incendiary device on an occupied dwelling. If there's money involved, if there's a weapon involved, those are all upward enhancements, you know. It would be like 40 years.
Right.
So that's just a little bit of planning. And like you said, planning's the most important part. If you don't plan, it ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna get away.
Right.
So I was very lucky that I didn't get slammed on that one. I got a few other ones. I got to hold this paper close to my face because I'm blind from macular degeneration. Did Johnny Carnegie, was he the one that killed Favaro? Do you know?
He's
If you don't want to answer,
he's one of them.
one of them.
I wasn't part of that hit. In other words, this is the guy who got into a car accident with
Yeah,
John
hit the kid. Yeah,
Son, killed the kid. It was an accident. The guy went over the house to apologize. It was an accident. The wife, John Gotti's wife, went nuts and this and that.
Yeah.
And he was breaking his balls. He told me about it, and I said it was an accident, bro. You know, you can't do anything. It's crazy. And he said okay, but he got Johnny Koenig and a few other guys. There was a few guys involved, and his wife was breaking his balls about you're supposed to be a tough guy. You're gonna leave this guy alive. He killed our son, and he lost control of himself and made a stupid fucking move, and got rid of the guy. So I wasn't really part of it, but I know the inside of what happened to it. So once he was killed, I found out that he took him out. I didn't ask him questions, about who did what, but I thought it was a dumb move, right?
yeah, I did too. I knew, I didn't think you were part of it. I never heard you mention it, but I read it somewhere, and
I don't talk about it much because I really don't know the details of what happened.
yeah,
So but I do know that he ordered it, and I think Johnny Koenig was one of the guys who, he was one of the main guys. Koenig is a tough guy, a real tough guy. So, and he was with part of John's crew. So, I knew he used him, but I didn't know who else he used and what they did with the body, and I didn't know any of that shit.
yeah.
I'm even interested because I thought it was a stupid fucking move. The guy came.
I kind of do too.
Your son had a mini bike driving in the street at night. The guy didn't see him. They collided. The kid got killed. It's an accident. It was not on purpose. Then he came to apologize, to the family, and your wife went bananas on him.
Yeah, I know the part about her name was Victoria, right? Was her name Victoria, or was that the daughter?
But that was the daughter, but I think that was
Daughter.
the wife's name as well. I think.
Yeah.
So,
I think in my case, it would depend on if there was any other circumstances, but the way that happened, the kid come out between two cars, I don't think I would have killed the guy myself.
So my son got the same thing. He didn't die, thank God, but he broke his leg. He did this and that. He was riding on a mini bike with a young little girl, and he crashed into a car. And my bodyguard driver, Louis Cicenti, said, "Sammy, the guy is fucking horrified." So I said, "About what?" He said, "About the crash, because this thing with John Gotti."
Yeah.
So I went down to see him, and I said, "Listen, there's nothing to worry about. It was an accident. You didn't do this intentionally, and there's nothing to worry about." Matter of fact, there was a little girl who was on a bike with him. She didn't get hurt. She actually landed on top of my son. She was sitting behind him. on the bike. I went to their house and I wanted to comfort them too. I says, is the kid okay? If she's not okay, take her to the doctor, give me the tab, or if I know doctors, I can help with that. So I calmed it down a little bit and I didn't do anything about it. And I can't see doing something about an accident, you know. It's intentional. You kill my kid intentionally, I'm gonna look to kill you, but it's not intentional. It's an accident. I don't do that. I don't believe in that.
I rode my whole life, even over here. I've lived in Thailand for 17 years because my whole last working career was all Australia, Africa, and China. So I ended up here. My retirement plan was to be on a white sandy beach in the Caribbean with aqua blue water. And I did live on the beach here for 9 years, and now the last 8 years I'm living up in the mountains in the jungle. It's okay. I'm very happy here. October 2018 was a motorcycle accident for me here, and that was the day I hung up the helmet. You know, in Thailand, we drive on the other side of the street. So when a Thai comes out to the end of the street, they gotta go left. They come out the end of the street and they're going left. That's the way the traffic's going.
Right.
But they never look to the right to see if anything's coming. So I'm coming down. I see the lady at the end of the street. When she sees the brake, she just goes. She was 15 feet in front of me. I was doing about 40. I T-boned her, flew off to the right, landed on this shoulder. This whole shoulder's plastic and titanium. And she pays me like $100 a month for the rest of my life. Big deal. Let me see. We were did Carnegie Junkyard, did they ever crush up cars with bodies in the car?
I
Do
don't
you
know. Yeah, no, I don't know. I know the brother, Johnny Canaig's brother, I think his name was Charlie.
Probably, yeah.
He was a fucking wacko. He was a whack job. Killed people, and he kept souvenirs like a serial killer would do. He was a whack job. Johnny Canaig,
Yeah.
tough guy, kill you in a minute, but he was stable, like me and you, talking, you know,
Yeah.
he's realistic. I mean, he did what he had to do when he had to do it, but he wasn't out of control with
Like Roy.
like Roy DeMeo, yeah.
How about Sal Polisi? Did you know it? Did you know him?
No, I heard of him. He was one of the guys who cooperated against John Gotti in one of the trials. I heard of him. I didn't know him personally. He has a video. I seen him on a video one day talking.
I don't know. Was he in Vario's crew?
I don't
you
really
know-
know where the hell he was, but I know I
Because
heard
he
him.
was whacking the airport pretty hard too, when he tells his story.
Them guys, yeah, they were taking the airport. They were near the airport. Whether he was with us or whether he was with Paul Vario, I don't know. But I know
I brought- Go
I
ahead.
heard his name, but I really never knew him personally.
I watched probably the same video you saw. I'm watching this guy, and he's an old guy, and he looks like your grandfather, and he's telling these stories and what they did and how they did it, and you know. Then he got to the part where he flipped, and I lost my interest kind of. So damn, it sucks being blind, man.
I know I'm about to go blind if Amina don't give me my eye drops every day.
I became like good friends with Amina, you know. I've been watching you kind of since you started. If I missed anything you put out, it's low, 5, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I asked a question or two, and
She's really
these
great.
were these were easy questions about, like, at first I'd go there and it was asking me to join. I thought I already joined. So I'm saying, listen, am I a member or not? And it didn't get answered, you know, for, I don't know, a few days. So I'm like, I ask a question, I want an answer. That's me. That's the lifestyle.
Right.
So I don't get an answer. And then I remember I get an answer. So I said, well, I better get an answer now. I sent the question 10 times in a row. She's probably sitting there smiling. I sent the question 10 times in a row. So she wrote back and she said, Bruce, you gotta understand, we're very busy here and we, do the best we can. And I understand that. You guys got a lot going on with, what I hear what you're doing. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So she said, asking the same question 10 times is not really polite. And then I apologized. And then, so me and Amina were like first name basis. When I need something, I contact her and
She's
everything
great.
runs very well.
She really is great. She really does. I'm short-staffed and she's piled up with work. The same thing with Anna,
Yeah,
but they're great. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Amina quite a while. I met her years ago. She worked in a bank and she was a bank teller. And every time I used to go, she knew who I was and
yeah,
she would wave. I would go to her. She'd take care of me right away. And years later, she did a little acting as well. She's a little bit of an actor. And I gave her a job and she's been with me quite a while now. And she's really good.
Yeah, it's too bad things started falling apart. And by that, I mean, it's like the honor, the respect, and the omerta just,
Yeah, it's gone.
the further you went from the 60s, the worse it got.
I think in the late 80s, early 90s, it just fell apart. When we got busted in 90, me, John, Frankie Lucasio, and everybody else, and John just did this whole thing. I'm sure you all know the whole story, so I won't bore you with the whole story. But he wanted me to take the weight. He's caught on tape. I'm not on the tapes. I mean, and it was a pure fucking. We had a lawyer, F. Lee Bailey, came in. And
Yeah,
he told that Flea Bailey, he said, listen, I got a plan how to beat this case. Flea Bailey said, you can't beat it. You're on tape. You're admitting to murders. You can't beat your own voice on tape. And then he said, no, I got a plan. I'm going to throw the weight on Sammy and Frankie Lucasio. And that Flea Bailey never came back. He didn't want no part of it. And then he told me, he says, Sammy, you're going to take the fucking weight. Even though I was bullshitting on the tapes, you sound bad. Sounds like I'm knocking your brains in. So the government's going to play those tapes, and I'm not going to let the lawyers fuck with it, but allow it to go in, and you're going to take the weight. And I said, "Is sure that's what you want to do? We're together. We get pinched together. It's us against the government or whoever it is." That's the way I feel. However, he should have told me, listen, you're not even on the fucking tapes. You could beat this case easily. But he was planning on me taking the weight. And that's when I said, fuck the mafia, fuck him. The whole thing changed. There's no more honor. There's no more nothing. And it's like, I'm not going to say he was a rat, but it's the same thing as being a rat. If you're going to help the government put me away, what is that?
Yeah, that is a rat move.
That's a rat move, exactly, and that's the way I took it. So I said, "Fuck him," and then I quit. I jumped ship and went on the other side, and that was. Now nobody believed it for a while, but more and more evidence came out to other cooperators and other government officials and people and lawyers, so they knew my story was true, and that's the reason why. I mean, I'm pinched all my life. I faced murder trial. Never cooperated in my life. Never liked the word, but
because you're so strong in LCN, and between Toto and Shorty and Frankie Lucasio,
Frankie
DeChico, you were schooled very well. You never would have. I know you never would have said anything. You went. A lot of people didn't realize you went 11 months. You never said anything, and that was going to be one of my questions: is what happened in those 11 months? But you did a podcast in detail. I saw it maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you just did the podcast where you really explained in detail, this is what happened the 11 months, or it was an older one that I hadn't seen. But
I
this
think
one here,
probably
you
an
broke it down, what happened in this 11 months and why I flipped. I didn't get arrested and flip. I was in 11 months. I never would have flipped until he pulled this shit.
Right. And that's exactly what happened. You know, every time I would hear somebody flipped, I would say, you know, of course it's a rap move, it's bad. But then I would always ask the question, why? This guy's a pretty tough guy, stand-up guy, he's been pinched all his life on and off in trouble. Why did he flip? And there's always a reason. Now, if you don't have a reason, then you're a fucking born again rat. Or if you had a reason, you're betrayed, this happened, that happened. You know, I always talk about this black guy. And he gets pinched, he killed his parole officer. He stood up, he gets life without parole, right? And he goes to prison, stands up. Now, what do they do? His crew of other black guys. One, they're fucking his wife. Two, they're beating up the mother, taking the spots. Three, they ask permission to kill a cop. He tells them no. They killed the cop anyway, and he's pinched now. He's facing the death penalty. So how much do you want the guy to take? He stood up. Now, you did every rotten fucking thing you could do to the guy, and you expect him to stand up, or you expect to call him a rat? What you did, you caused this guy to do that. There's so much a guy could take, and there's a limit to everything. You know, I always say you can get a lion, he corners a fucking goat. After a while, the goat will fucking fight back.
Yeah.
You only push so fucking far, and then you made him a rat by what you did. You know, like your guy with the not paying $700. It's fucking retarded. How people could just push somebody to a point where he may do something, and now you want to call him a bad guy or a rat. That's crazy. You have to look at the story as far as I'm concerned. Now, I met guys who didn't face no time, no nothing, or small amount of time, and they flipped in 2 seconds. That's a rat. Or somebody who wears a wire, comes into
Greg Scarpa,
yeah,
Whitey Bulger,
yeah, guys like that. Whitey Bulger.
those are rats.
Yeah, those are born rats. You know, they're using that tool to commit crimes, stay out of prison, and bury other people for the same time. And I can't stand the fact, like, we're talking, let's say your wife is there. Now I come in wired, I'm talking to you, I'm catching your wife on tape, your kid on tape. How the fuck do you, and the guy didn't want to do nothing. So I'm saying, you know what we could do, bro? We could do X, Y, Z. And now the government's listening to that. Now, that wasn't your idea. It's my fucking idea. I'm almost entrapping you in a crime. Then I leave. Now, you say, yeah, I'm already doing coke and I'm selling that and I'm doing this. You're telling me, thinking I'm a friend. And I walk away. Now, the government now puts all kinds of investigators on your back. 3 months later, you get busted. How the fuck did they know everything I did? I go away scot-free. They don't even know I'm a rat. It's a confidential informant. I think that's the worst thing in the fucking world. You
Let me
couldn't.
tell you some of this one. I never heard of anybody doing this. Maybe other people doing it. I just never heard of it. I'm selling pot by myself, getting it from this David and Greg, 2 jerk-offs. I didn't know at the time. And David's the one that brought the ounce of coke to my house one night. Never seen it before. Don't know nothing. And
Right.
said, this is what it is. I tried it. Yeah, I liked it. And he said, when this is gone, you owe me. I forget what it was. But I did a lot. I got my friends coming over to try it. So here, you try this. They're buying a gram or an 8 ball. I don't even know what I'm doing. I made like $600 off of this ounce. I said, wow, this is great. I'll just sell 4 or 5, 6 of these a month. I don't even have to work.
Yeah.
I start getting more and more. Well, what David and Greg were doing is they were cutting the coke, and they were getting a few lawnmower engines and they'd sandblast them. And then you mix the coke and you cut it with inositol, which is ground up vitamin B. It looks like shards of glass. That's what gives the Coke the shine. Mannitol is the cut. And then they're putting it in a lawnmower engine, in the piston, which is very tiny in a lawnmower engine. Put it in there with, spray it with anhydrous ether. That way you can moisten it. It doesn't dissolve anything. It just moistens it enough to push it together. Bolt a plate on the top, put it in a vise, put a pipe wrench on the shaft, drive the piston up against the plate, and you got a cookie like this that's cut. Let that sit till tomorrow. All the ether evaporates and you got a cookie. So you take a little ball peen hammer and you bust up that cookie. And when you take a rock and you look at it, it's all shiny because it's got the little bits of inositol in it. It looks like diamonds. Put it all together. Take off any round edges of the cookie so nobody can tell it's been recompressed. Put it in the bag, put a little inositol, a little mannitol, shake it up, and it's good. You test it. The shake tests the same as the rock. Back then, we used to use a glass of bleach. You take a glass of bleach like you do your clothes, straight glass, fill it up, and let all the turbulence settle out. And then you put it in a screen, you just tap it. When the Coke falls on the bleach, it just makes milky trails down through this. You put it on the top and you get milky trails, you know it's good. If it scatters across the top, it's quinine. If it sinks real fast to the bottom and turns brown, it could be flour, it could be cornstarch, shit like that. That's how we used to test it. Mine tested beautiful. So now, a few people are finding out, hold on, wait a minute, we're not there yet. They're testing it in the lawn, they're recompressing it in a lawnmower engine. After you do 2 or 3, the top breaks off where the ribs are for the air cooler, you know, it's not that thick, boom, pops off. So I get away from these 2 jerk offs and I know how to do it myself. I'm mechanical, I'm a pipe fitter welder. Fuck the lawnmower. I go get a Harley Davidson cylinder. It's about 3 1/8 inches like this. And I get a 12-ton axle press and I put it in my closet. In the closet in my apartment, the door beside me was the stairway. So this went up at an angle. So I had plenty of room to put this, the
Right.
thing like a gas station presses axle bearings with and shit like that. So I have a machinist make me a piece of stainless steel plate that just barely goes in there. And I could do 2 or 3 ounces in there easy. The lawnmower engine's like a half an ounce at a time because it's so damn small. I can do 3 ounces at a time. Put it in there, put the plate on, in the press. I'm making beautiful cookies. Put them on a piece of glass with a light bulb underneath it, evaporates the ether, and I'm turning out some beautiful shit. So word starts spreading around, you know how it does, spreads around, and now this one. Well, Russ had the most beautiful Coke I ever saw. I don't know where the hell he was getting that. So I dumped the 2 jerk offs and I start dealing with Russ direct. So Russ sees that I'm not a jerk off and da-da-da. So one night he says, "Can you take a ride with me?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not doing anything." He said, "We got to go collect some money in Dorchester." He said, "There's going to be 3 guys there. They're hippie jerk offs. They're not going to do anything. But I want you to come with me." "Yeah, let's go." So back in the 70s, we all had we had an entertainment center usually in the living room. It had your receiver, your turntable, your television, a few other things. Almost everybody had one back. So we're just laughing and joking on the way from Brockton to Dorchester. I don't think anything. So we knock on the door, we go in there. As soon as they open the door, the entertainment center was right here on the right? Russ takes the top of it and just slams it down. They were sitting on the couch. The entertainment center lands on them, the stereo, shit goes everywhere. I told you I was coming back. Did you think I wasn't coming back? You owe me the fucking money and you're gonna pay me. So you know what you're gonna do right now? You're gonna call somebody that loves you. Who loves you? Call somebody that loves you. You're gonna get the money. So long story short, we do what we had to do. We get the money. And I said, wow, this is great. At that time, I had $3,000 out in the street. Because just like everybody else, the way you move shit, you got to front it, right? So I said, I got $3,000 out in the street that's overdue. He said, well, we'll go get it. So we did. We go out and we did what we had to do. You know, this guy got banged up or whatever happened. I got all my money. I said, this is great. So for like the next year and a half, I'm doing a lot of stuff with Russ. I'm getting coke. In the end, I'm getting a kilo at a time and like tripling it. And I'm working my ass off, and I'm getting a lot of money for pressing that coke back into coke. Did you ever hear of anybody recompressing coke? I know you weren't into drugs, but
No.
did you ever hear of that?
No.
No, I never heard of it either, but I'll tell you what, it works damn good. So I'm doing a lot of things with him. Sometimes I never asked him, and of course he's not going to tell me. He shouldn't tell me. I don't know if he was made or he was just an associate, but he was in there. And now I'm in the North End with him. We're having lunch. A couple of guys come in. They talk to him. He said, this is a friend of mine. They just kind of looked and just nodded. Talked to him a little bit, went and sat down by himself. I'm getting to meet other big guys and this and that, just like your reputation got around and Shorty wanted to talk to you. Had I hung around much longer, I was headed that way. My dad was always on the outside too. My dad was a sandhog in Local 88 Boston. He was always a superintendent for Perini, the sewer tunnels, the traffic tunnel under the harbor to the airport. My dad was always the boss. And then at one point, they wanted him to be the business manager of the local. In Boston, that's a mob-tied position, and my father didn't want it. He said, I got a wife and 3 kids, and I do everything over here, but put somebody else in there.
Right.
My dad was on the edge, you know. I remember like 10 years old, my dad take me on Saturday morning. We pull in the end of a parking lot, another guy pulls up and 3 brand new outboard engines go in the back of the car. There was another friend of his, Eric Hampy, long dead now. He had a trailer truck. He'd pull up in front of my house and there'd be boxes coming off the truck. And I hear, you know, I know my dad has got access to a whole bunch of suits, whole bunch of ladies' coats. All this shit was happening. But my dad wasn't boosting the trucks. He's probably getting the stuff and getting rid of it. But he was on the edge. And the Sandhog local is nothing but convicts, full convicts.
Right.
Did you guys have any control of the Sandhogs local? I never heard anyone you mention that.
No.
Not
No.
the Sandhog. How about the plumbers and pipe fitters? Did you have any influence with them?
Well, we had influence through other people. We didn't control that union, but there was people with that union, the pipe fitters and stuff like that. There was people in just about every union in New York, but
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
I didn't have any control over them, and I didn't do that kind of construction. So I really had very limited exposure to them.
And anything with the operating engineers?
We had connections with the operating engineers. Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, I became an OE. Go ahead.
The guys going up with the artificial when you're building construction, it's
The elevator?
elevators and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had
And the cranes, the excavators, all that shit's
that's all
OE.
operating engineers. Yes.
I had a chuckle the other day. I was listening to you And you said something about having a problem with the electricians.
Yeah, they were,
There's some tight-knit some bitches, those guys.
yeah, they were a pain in the ass. It was hard to deal with them, but there was people you could reach who had, connections with them and you were able to reach them, but never direct. They were a pain in the ass, these guys.
Yeah, they fucked us up a few times, you know. We're building nuclear plants. I built nuclear plants for like 12 years all across this country. And we're working 5 in the morning to 5:30 at night. We were working 6 to 6:30 and we wanted to change the hours to 5 to 5:30 so we could get off earlier. And the electrician said, nope, the contract says we work this to this and break the day. It's
Yeah,
benefit everybody, and they fucked the whole thing up. So we had to stay on the hours we were, and that shit like that's happened 2 or 3 times at least.
They were a pain in the ass to deal with. They were
They're
hard.
tough to get to.
Yeah.
So I didn't finish this the Coke pressing story. So I'm pressing the Coke, and I never let, all right, very limited anybody to come to my house at that time. I lived in a pretty big apartment complex. It's called Chateau Westgate. And it wasn't a big, tall building. This was a whole bunch of separate buildings, 2-story. I think each one had 6 units in it, and they were all over the place.
Right.
People see somebody walking by, they're all looking out the window. I'd even catch myself doing it. So I don't want a train of people coming to my door, or somebody come to my door with a bag and then they leave with nothing, or the other way around, they come with nothing and they leave in my house with a bag. I just stupid. I'm not doing that. 10 minutes, I can drive across the street to the mall. Easy to do. The only one they see is me. I had this guy, Paul, and he'd do like a quarter pound a week. He'd move 4 ounces a week for me. So he was valuable to me. And I told him, do never sell to junkies. Junkies are nothing but trouble. They'll fuck you off in a minute if they get in the jam. Don't sell to junkies. You do not need to sell to junkies. Sure enough, he sells to junkie. He was always solid with the money. I'd front him. He'd always come when he's supposed to come, bring the money, no problem, for 6 months or so. Now he comes and he says, I'm going to get you this money next week. I said, okay, maybe he gave it to someone, but I'm going to get the money next week. No problem. The guy's doing good for me. Next week he comes, I got to tell you something. I got a problem. I fronted to this guy. He's a piece of shit. And I don't know what's going to happen. Well, Paul's a little skinny, not a tough guy at all. And I said, bring this guy to me. So I drive over to the mall. I meet Paul and this piece of shit, which I didn't know was a junkie until after that. And I said, this is the way it is. You don't owe Paul the money anymore. You owe me now. And starting now, it's $25 a day interest. At that time, that's $750 a month. I said, $25 a day. I'm not going to let you go very far. I'm going to cave your head in. I don't fuck around. Go beg, borrow, steal, do whatever you got to do, get the money. And I think I told him a day and whatever. And he did bring the money. Now this guy thinks he's my best friend because I jacked him up. He gave me the money and now he's solid. Somehow this guy had my phone number. I don't remember how. No cell phones, no pages yet. Got my home phone number. So he's calling me almost every night. He wants to come get a gram. I didn't usually sell grams. I didn't sell nothing less than an 8-ball if I was doing anything. So I would take and give him like 3/10 of a gram of Coke and the rest was cut. $100 a gram. Takes me 10 minutes to drive across the street. I'm jerking him off. But on Friday, I know my phone number's getting changed. So you had to call up and make a thing to get your phone number changed.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember. It's 50 years ago. I get a call. He said, I got two guys over here at Cardinal Apartments. They want a quarter ounce, $500. I said, okay. I said, but you know who I am. You know, I'm coming in there hot and don't fuck around. No, this is clean. It's nothing. I said, okay. I go over this place. There's two guys in there I never seen before, Dickie and Lucian, and the piece of shit. These guys taste it, take it, give me 500. I'm out the door. Finished. A day or two later, I get a call from one of my friends. He goes, do you know a guy named Dickie or Lucian? Yeah. He said, I did this with him the other day. He said, I'm just telling you, I'm over in the Oak Lounge and there's people asking who you are because you ripped these guys off. Really? If you're looking for me, I'm going to come to you. I don't want you coming to me. I'm going to come to you. You got a problem with me? So I go over and knock on the door, and they were very surprised to see me. And I said, hey, I hear you're looking for me. Yeah, come on in. He says, oh, what the fuck happened? I said, no, you tell me what the fuck happened. Well, after you left, that guy said, what are you going to do with this? And they said, we're going to sell 5 grams. We each get a gram for free. That's what they were doing. The piece of shit says, just give me the 5 grams. I can sell them right away. I'll be back in like 2 hours with the money. So they did. They never seen him again. They thought that me and him pulled a deal and ripped them off. I said, no, you're wrong. And then I told him who he was. This guy's a piece of shit. I give him a fucked up gram every day. He told me you wanted this. I bring you over the good stuff. He ripped you off. Do you have any way to get a hold of this guy? He said, calls me almost every night. It was Wednesday or Thursday. My phone's getting changed on Friday. So whatever day it was, he calls up. And yeah, no problem. I said, meet me at Frank's Lounge this time, not in the mall. You come to Frank's Lounge, not too far away. Parking lot. So I get to the parking lot. He pulls in with his old lady. He gets out of the car. He thinks he's my long lost friend. He walks over and I grab him by the arm and I'm holding him so he can't move. I said, what's the matter? What are you grabbing me for? When are you going to stop ripping people off? When? I didn't rip anybody off. I paid you, not me. What did you do with Lucian and Dickie? I gave them the money. No, the fuck you didn't. Lucian and Dickie are parked in a car over here. I said, don't get out till I tell you. I give them, come in. Lucian and Dickie get out of the car. Said, now what are you going to do? He's shitting. So they come over and they get telling him whatever they tell him, you know, what the fuck you doing? You think you're going to fuck us? Dickie had he's got a hooded sweatshirt on, got a pair of pliers in his pocket. He grabbed one of his fingers and just twisted it. And his wife is sitting in the car over here. So once they twisted his finger and they got control of him, I said, I hope they fucking kill you, you fucking scumbag. And I walked away and I never saw those 3 guys again. But there was another small, but still bit of planning, you know, get the fucker over there and let him pay the tax, you know.
Right. Listen, I'm getting a buzz that this is almost running out of time.
I can't hear you, Sammy.
Just got a buzz that, you know, it's almost over.
Okay.
Time element. So,
Okay.
you know,
Let me just see if there's one other thing and then we can cut it off.
all right.
The other one I was just going to talk about is dirty cops, you know.
Yeah. Well, that
I had like 35 cops a day on a slow day on detail. So I know so many cops in Boston. And this one guy always came very tight and sharp and starched. And, what's your name? My name is Sergeant Leo F. Coogan. He always said Leo F. Coogan. You know what Leo F. Coogan was doing? He's going down to the combat zone and he's taking the prostitutes in the cruiser to a parking garage, forcing them to do whatever. And the girls were getting fed up with it. So he throws the condom out the window, tells her to get out, drives away. She takes the condom, goes back to the police station. 30-year career, marriage, grandchildren, everything. Gone.
Yeah,
Another one.
yeah.
Good guy. We really like this guy, Mike Low Priori. We called him Low Priority, but he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Same thing. The cops are raping prostitutes. What the hell are you doing? God dang.
Yeah, yeah. All right, listen, it's, I'm getting buzzed. I gotta go. But
Yeah, okay, no worries, Sammy.
listen, I like the call. It was a great call. I appreciate it. And,
Me too.
like to talking with you and, maybe we could communicate again sometime.
We're gonna, I'll do this again with you because I got more.
All right, here's Amina. Amina's jumping in. She's, this.
Let me get my underboss for 1 second. Come over here, underboss. My underboss, my nurse, the best thing that ever happened to me.
All right, where is she? Let me
Come
see.
on, Smiley. Say hello to Mr. Sammy.
Oh, hi, Sammy. Nice to meet
Oh,
you.
Pleasure,
We
pleasure.
talk a lot about you. He told me a lot about you,
Yeah,
Yeah.
He loved you very much.
I love him
Okay.
too. So have a
Bye,
great.
Amina.
Okay.
It was
Bye.
Bye,
good.
Sammy. We'll do this again because we still got unfinished business.
Okay.
Absolutely. Take
Is
care.
Anna in the background too?
She's
No,
right
she's-
here.
no,
Oh, no,
she's
no,
not here
Anna's not
yet.
here. I
Yeah.
don't-
All right. I just wanted to say hello and goodbye to Anna.
Aw,
Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I know you got a lot to do.
All
Perfect.
right.
I can't wait to see the three big projects. They're gonna be blockbuster Academy Award winners.
I
Absolutely,
hope so.
especially Johnny Keys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, brother, stay safe,
Bye-bye.
stay free.
Thank
All
you.
right, man.